to another episode of High School for Newbies. This time's episode is going to be, thankfully, considerably shorter than the last few have been, because they have gotten lengthy. But this one, there's not nearly as much to say. But this one is going to be on the topic of ID cards. You're probably wondering, how could I possibly have very much to say on that? But believe it or not, there's actually quite a bit to say here, and it all depends on where you go to school and what your school's stance is on what exactly the ID cards are used for and what type you have, because there's actually a lot of things they get used for now. But then again, you may go to a school like I went to where, sure, you get one, but the only time you will ever even look at that thing is to check out your textbooks, probably. So anyway, why are ID cards a big deal? Well, frankly, in the most basic terms, obviously, yes, it's a means of identification, but even though every school handbook mentions that you must have your card on you at all times so that in case a staff member asks you to present it, you can present it and you'll be in trouble if you cannot present it, blah blah blah. How many people has this ever actually happened to? No, I'm serious. Unless you go to one of those schools where they are really strict about this, chances are your entire high school career, even if you get in trouble, it's never gonna happen, okay? I'm speaking as somebody who got suspended and expelled and still never had to show my ID card for anything other than the school library and for checking out my textbooks, ever. That said, that brings us to the very first obvious usage of how your ID card is probably going to be used. When you go to check out your textbooks at the beginning of the school year, provided that you don't have to buy your own, and I mean, there's not that many schools that make you buy your own in high school, but some do, but provided you're like most of the rest of the country, at the beginning of the school year, you will check out your textbooks and you will have to use your ID card to have them be able to identify who has that specific book. So at the end of the year, in case it doesn't come back, or if it comes back damaged, they're gonna know who to charge a fine to. Yes, I was one of those people. Another very obvious one that's pretty common for what ID cards get used for, using the school library. If you're gonna check anything out from there, they aren't gonna have you use a special library card for there, they're just gonna have you use your student ID card. Now, this is something you've probably already been doing since middle school, if not elementary school, because I know some elementary schools have already implemented that, but probably at the very least since middle school, you've already been doing that. So this is nothing new to you. Using school computers, same thing, unless you have a totally open computer lab where anyone can use anything and doesn't have to log into anything. Excuse me, I just used my allergy stuff, so I'm a little bit sniffly. But anyway, unless you have one of those, or you're in specifically computer lab as a class, you will have to use your ID card to log into the school's internet, most likely. Not a big deal, you put in your ID number, and that's that, you're in, you're on. The main point of this is so that in case you do anything fucked up through their internet connection, they know who to trace it to. So, use common logic, don't do anything stupid. Just saying. Here's where certain schools do this and certain schools don't, but it's becoming more and more commonplace. Paying for school lunches. You can have, it used to just be people who were signed up through lunch programs through the school, like low-income families and things that had state aid, could actually provide their student ID card in the cafeteria and didn't have to worry about paying for lunch that way, just by doing that. That's still a thing, and, sorry, I'm trying to situate myself comfortably here, because this is a little bit different setup than I usually have. I've actually got my tripod perched over my laptop screen, so don't know if it's gonna fall or not, and I keep, like, wanting to jump and get it, but anyway, so that's still a thing, anyway, but in lieu of money, a lot of schools are now also adopting a thing where your parent, instead of like buying lunch tickets or whatever system your school has, can actually put money on your card for school lunches, X amount of money, however much they want to put on there, and then you just use your student ID card when you get up to the register, and it's basically like a school ATM card, more or less. And they just scan it through, and it deducts that much from your balance, and you get your lunch, and you never have to handle any cash. It's pretty genius, I think. I wish they'd had that when I went to school, but that wasn't a thing yet. There's also some schools that, ones that have like a school supply store on campus. Some of them are actually implementing the, basic, like, debit card nature of the student ID cards. Also with this, as a separate balance, aside from lunch balance, your parent can also put on so and so much money so that you can use your student ID card in that store to buy things. Like if you're gonna buy school supplies, if you're gonna buy like a school sweatshirt, if you're gonna buy a yearbook, if you're gonna buy this, that, the other, depending what your school has in their store, you can do it with your ID card, and it's very handy. You don't have to worry about anybody stealing your money that way. Another fairly old school usage of the ID card that I think everybody knows of because they've been doing this forever is when you go to school events like school sporting events or school dances or what have you, you have to show your ID card at the door to get in because you have to prove that you do go to this school. You're not just some random kid wandering in because there's a thing going on and I'm going to crash it. I don't know why you would do that anyway, but I suppose somebody had a problem somewhere along the line, and now that's a thing. So that's a thing. It's not a big deal. You just have it on you, you show it, they let you in, boom, done. It takes like all of 2 seconds. It's not a big deal. I thought I had something else to go along with that point, but now I'm blanking on what it was. Give me a minute. It's gone. Sorry. Anyway, that's probably where the more... Oh, wait, remembered what it was. Actually, it was more along the lines of the school store thing, but another really old school usage of the student ID cards. And sometimes this goes for college ID cards, too. Local businesses, a lot of times, will offer student discounts to local high school students as long as they can produce their valid this year's student ID. So it's worth looking into. You can at least ask at different places to see if they do, because if you can save money, why wouldn't you? So that is a thing, and that's what I was trying to think of. Now, here's where some schools are being more progressive and, in some people's views, more oppressive. Some schools have more high-tech ID cards nowadays where they've got RFID chips in them. Yes, those are the same types of chips that they're implementing into credit cards nowadays, even though they haven't been wide-scale rolled out yet. Certain schools have already done this. The RF, I believe, stands for radio frequency. But anyhow, yeah, it's basically a teeny tiny little computer chip in your card. Certain schools require you to have the card on you just to enter the school. You don't have your card, you can't go to school today. You'll probably get a detention for it. You don't go to that, you'll end up going to Saturday school. You don't go to that, you'll get suspended. You don't go to that, the truancy officer is probably going to come after you, and it's not pretty when they do. I've had it happen. Anyway, I'm not proud. I just thought I'd throw it out there that it is a thing, it does happen, it's not an idle threat. Even if you have very legitimate reasons for not being there, even if you have a bunch of absences because you're sick, if you miss over a certain number of days, truancy officers will come after you. Just an aside, I'll probably make a separate video talking about those. Anyhow, but yeah, a lot of them, it kind of goes hand in hand with how certain schools require you to use clear backpacks so they can see what you have on you at any given time, and have the metal detectors at the doors. Yeah, some of them have gotten so overprotective to where you have to show the ID card just to walk into school so that they can ensure that only kids who are supposed to be there are there and that nobody else is on that campus. Similarly, also with the RFID chip cards, it's also an attendance thing because they don't even have to do roll call anymore. It's all done with the chip. So, I mean, I can see where this would save time, but I can also see where this would, well, I would say fuck them over if they try to cut class, but you're not supposed to be cutting class, so, yeah. But basically, it's almost like a little mini GPS thing in your ID card. So, if you're cutting class and you're vandalizing the school, guess what? They're gonna find where you are. So, probably shouldn't do that if you're in a school that's so overprotective anyway. Just a thought. But yeah, also with the schools that have that implemented, a lot of them will require you to have your card to even so much as go to the bathroom or go to the office. To have any sort of a hall pass, you have to have the card with you so that they can, depending on the school, some of them have to scan it, some of them just enter it into a computer, some of them just look at it. It depends on the school. There's a lot of variety in this still because they're still ironing out the kinks in the system and trying to figure out how to make it more widespread than it is so far. If you go to one of these schools, I'm actually pretty intrigued and would like to hear about it if you feel like sharing in the comments. But anyway, yeah, so I'm rather intrigued by that because even though I live pretty close to the Silicon Valley, which is more or less the headquarters of the technological world, none of the local schools here have that. I've only read about this, and I'm really intrigued. So, if you happen to go to one of those schools, seriously, if you have the time, share with me in the comments, because I'd like to hear about it. Pros, cons, just what the experience is like, anything, really. But anyway, not counting the ones with the RFID chips, but just in general of school ID cards now, this is sort of the more high-techy things that didn't used to really be a thing back when I went to school, but are now a thing and are pretty commonplace amongst, I think, all high schools now. My youngest sister is a senior in high school currently, so this is how I know what they're currently doing. But, now they've got online student portals, which I'm sure you guys already know about because your school probably uses them too. And you need your student ID number to be able to log into those. And it's got everything from information on school events, it's got your current assignments, it's got notes from your teachers, what have you, all sorts of stuff in there, but you can't get to it without your ID card. So it's another good idea for having it on your person. There's also apps now that they're exclusive to your school, but you have to verify you're a student with your ID card. Now, with that in mind, I'd probably be careful of using any of those, like, post-secret type apps or anything, because if you have to verify that you're a student with your ID number, any sort of problematic postings can be traced back to you even if it's supposedly anonymous, so again, use good common sense here, just good common logic. And the other thing that, this also goes more along with the more highly overprotective schools. Some of them they're not happy to have you just carry it in a purse or in your pocket. They require you to wear them either on a lanyard around your neck or on a clip on like your shirt pocket. Do I have a shirt pocket? I guess I do. So I guess it would be like right here you would have your ID card just clipped there so that at a quick glance everybody knows who everybody is. It's more for the staff than the students, but I can see where this would also be helpful in learning your fellow students' names and stuff. It would have made my experience a lot more convenient that way, because I'm really bad with names, but yeah, that. So, that's not a very common thing, I don't think. Most schools are cool to just let you have it on your person somewhere, and in the event that you need it, you have it, so it's just good to have it on you, so. I've been talking for a really long time, so I think that's about all I can really think of, frankly, on the topic of ID cards. So, yeah, if you have ideas for future episodes of High School for Newbies, feel free to leave those down in the comments, along with any other feedback you may have. If you're not already and you'd like to be, click subscribe, click the like button if you like this video. Until next time.